We're going to start by going over question number 1. In the diagram below, sorry, in the diagram below, the line segments represent 5 parts of a sidewalk in a dog park. Use the ruler provided to measure the length of each line segment to the nearest centimeter. And we've talked about this before. When they ask you to measure something, you need to make sure that when you measure, the ruler typically has an inch side and a centimeter side. We need to pay very close attention to what they want us to use. In this case, they ask us to use centimeter, so I need to make sure that I'm using centimeter. And we can start measuring. Second thing, you always start measuring not from the 1, but from wherever the 0 is on your ruler. So if your ruler has a 0 on it, that's where you start. If your ruler doesn't, then that normally means that the 0 for your ruler is all the way at the end. My ruler has a 0 on it, so that's where I'm going to start. If I line up my ruler for this first part of the line, I see that it's 4 centimeters. Whenever you use your ruler to measure something, always write down how long it was. Don't try to keep the numbers up in your head. Write them down for you. We talked about, if you try to keep all the numbers in your head, it's like if you just start putting things and you start carrying things, and everything you carry is like one more thing you're trying to remember and hold in your brain. You can hold 1 or 2 things just fine. That's no problem. But when you start trying to hold more and more, it gets more and more difficult. And you might end up dropping or forgetting certain things. You don't want to do that, especially if there's a way to just put it down. I don't have to keep remembering 4 if it's written down for me. I line up my ruler for this next part. I see that this is 5 centimeters. Try going this way. Shows up. There we go. Okay. I measure this line here, about 3 centimeters. This one's a long line. This line here, 7 centimeters. We've got one last line to measure. 6 centimeters. My question says, which measurement closest to the total length in centimeters sidewalk shown in the diagram? So they're asking for a total. That means I need to add all the parts of my sidewalk up. I'm going to go ahead and start adding. Something that people like to try to do to save themselves time is they'll add up everything at once. So they'll do 4 plus 5 plus 3 plus 7 plus 6. That's not wrong, but it does give you a lot of opportunities to make mistakes. There's lots of little places that you could forget a number or add too many. So what I like to do is, instead of adding everything all at once, all together in one big pile, I like to do it piece by piece. Kind of like the difference between getting a pizza and just folding up the whole thing and trying to shove it all in your mouth, or getting one piece of pizza at a time. You can eat the whole pizza, I mean, if you're hungry enough, but it's a lot easier to eat it if you go slice by slice than if you pick up the whole thing and just try to shove it all in your mouth. So I'm going to start adding. 4 plus 5 would be 9 centimeters. But that's just with 2 parts. I'm going to add the next one. Plus 3. 9 plus 3 would be 12 centimeters. Okay. Still have some more parts I need to add. I'm going to keep adding. Plus 7. 12 plus 7 is 15 centimeters. I've got one last part to add. 15 plus 6 would be 25 centimeters. If I look at my answer choices, I do have an answer choice that says 25 centimeters. So the correct answer was answer choice 25. Question 2. Question 2, when we were taking our test, I told you all was a little bit tricky. Question 2, what makes it tricky is that it doesn't just take one step or one operation or one process to answer this question. You have to do a few things. If you forget that you have to do more than one thing, this could be a very hard question. Mrs. Lovato had 9 feet of aluminum foil on a roll. She used 29 inches of foil to cover a casserole she had baked. How many inches of aluminum foil did she have then? All this is a word problem. We've had plenty of practice with word problems before. I'm going to start by circling my question mark. I'm going to slowly move backward from my question mark until I find the question word. Then have she did foil aluminum of inches many. How? So my question is asking me, how many inches of aluminum foil did she have then? So they want to know about aluminum foil and they want to know inches. How many inches of aluminum foil? Okay, not too bad. Mrs. Lovato had 9 feet of aluminum foil. Okay, right there is where I run into my first problem. My question says how many inches of aluminum foil. But in my problem, they say that there was 9 feet of aluminum foil. Feet and inches, well, they're not the same thing. So the first thing I should do is I need to change that 9 feet into inches. 9 feet equals blank inches. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. Change from feet into inches. In that math packet, we have that paper that tells us all the equivalent measures and tells us or helps us to change from one unit to the other. On that page, if I look carefully, I'll see that it tells me that 1 foot is equal to 12 inches, which is fine, but Mrs. Lovato didn't have 1 foot of foil. She had 9 feet. So I've got to change 9 feet into an equal amount of inches. Practice problems like these. I'm going to write them like if they were fractions. I'm going to keep my feet on the top, inches on the bottom. I know for a fact that if I have 1 foot, same thing as 12 inches. I know that. But I don't just have 1 foot. I've got 9. There's 9 feet. And some number of inches. I don't know how many yet. So I've got to change my numbers. We said whenever we're converting, we're changing from one unit to another. that we need to use multiplication, because multiplication makes sure that it changes the numbers evenly. Never going to be uneven to use multiplication. So I need to figure out if I wanted to change the number 1 to the number 9, how could I do that with multiplication? Well, we had said before that if you multiply a number with the number 1, it doesn't change. It stays the same. So if I want my answer to be 9, then my number sentence should be 1 times 9. 1 times 9 will equal 9. We just talked about being fair and being equal. And it wouldn't be very fair if I changed the feet and not the inches. It wouldn't be very fair if I multiply the feet times 9 and not the inches. So to be fair, I'm going to do the same thing. 12 times 9. And that will tell me how many inches it is. 12 times 9. I can set that up over here if I'd like. 12 times 9. 9 times 2 is 18. Carry over a 1. And 9 times 1 is 9. But I carried over an extra 1. So 9 plus 1, 10. That means that she had 108 inches of aluminum foil. That's great. That's fantastic. I don't have an answer choice that says 108. Remember, this problem had 2 parts. She had 108 inches of aluminum foil, but she used some for something. It doesn't, oh sorry, to cover a casserole. If she's going to use it, she's got to take it off of the roll. She's got to tear it off and get rid of it. So that means I have a second step here. Yes, Jadine?
Can I help you with that second step?
Sure. So, Jadine, if I'm going to get rid of the aluminum foil, take it off, what am I going to do? What operation would help me?
So we haven't used the 29 inches yet, so we're going to do 108 minus 29 inches.
Very good. So we have the 108 inches. And we're going to subtract the 29. 8 minus 9 is something that I can't do. It's close. I can't do it yet. Normally that means I'd have to borrow. But
You borrow. Sorry.
it's okay. But if it's a 0, I can't borrow from a 0. It's nothing. There's nothing there. So where can I borrow from? Kylie? Can't borrow the 0.
You could borrow from the hundreds place.
Gotta borrow from the hundreds place. So if I borrow from the 1, it's gonna turn into 0. And then I don't just skip all the way back to the 8. I have to go place by place. 0 is gonna turn into a 10. And now I can borrow. So the 10 is gonna turn into a 9. My 8 is gonna turn into an 18. And now I can do my subtraction. 18 minus 9. What's 18 minus 9? Kylie? What would I get? 18 minus 9 is?
Equals 9.
Okay. Now I have 9 minus 2. Well, what's 9 minus 2? Bradley?
7.
7. This used to be a 1, but now it's a 0. So, after she made this casserole, Miss Lovato had 79 inches of aluminum foil left. Means that answer choice H should have been my answer.